The film begins with a young man named Jamin, a high school student who seemed to be a natural-born genius. He never studied, yet he always managed to excel in his classes, often dozing off in boredom. Despite his lack of effort, Jamin had a large following of fans who admired his handsome face. However, he paid no attention to them and instead lived his life on his own terms, breaking all the rules. His only true friend was Park Joo-hae, and he didn't care about anyone else, especially the girls who secretly had a crush on him. Joo-hae, unfortunately, had a crush on Jamin's rival at school, a student named Jong-chan. Unlike Jamin, Chan was the most popular guy in school, with all the girls swooning over him. He was smart, cool, and hardworking, always securing the top spot in their class. This stark contrast between the two boys made Joo-hae's crush on Chan seem inevitable. Despite Jamin's carefree nature, he couldn't help but feel a sense of competition with Chan. Jamin saw Chan as a threat, someone who could potentially take away Joo-hae's affections. And it turned out, Chan was secretly envious of Jamin's seemingly effortless success. Despite not having to study as hard as Chan, Jamin was active in many extracurricular activities and had a vast circle of friends. This realization made Chan feel inferior and fueled his desire to surpass Jamin. Even his friends began to talk about how much more interesting Jamin was compared to Chan. Meanwhile, Jamin's life took an unexpected turn when he received news that his father had gone missing. He rushed to his father's company office, only to be met with hostility from his father's employees. At that time, they blamed Jamin for their company's troubles, citing his position as the CEO's only child. It was revealed that Jamin's father had accidentally leaked confidential data, leading the company to lose a significant amount of money and nearly go bankrupt. Because of that, Jamin's once carefree life had turned into a nightmare, and he was left to deal with the fallout of his father's mistakes. But then, it turned out the cause of the company's financial troubles was a hacker attack on Jamin's father's data system. The hacker managed to breach the company's weak security and steal money from their clients' banking accounts. Despite efforts to resolve the issue, Jamin's father could not bear the guilt and shame of what had happened. He took his own life, leaving Jamin and his mother devastated. In the aftermath, Joo-hae was the only friend who stood by Jamin's side, offering him comfort and support. He was left to grieve and come to terms with the tragedy that had befallen his family. 2 years passed, and the case surrounding Jamin's father's death remained unsolved. The cyber police had made false promises to Jamin, leaving him feeling angry and frustrated. He had begged them to prioritize his father's case, but they always had more pressing matters to attend to. He felt like justice was out of reach, and he couldn't help but wonder if he would ever find closure. Then, Jamin had come to a realization that the cyber police were not going to help him with his father's case. He understood that his father's case was not a priority for them. But Jamin refused to give up. He was determined to find out the truth about what had happened to his father. So, he decided to become a hacker and went by the name Hex. He studied hard and managed to earn a scholarship to study computer science at Seoul National University. There, he met Joo-hae, who was studying art. They quickly became good friends and would often spend time together. One morning, Jamin saw Joo-hae rushing to campus. He asked her where she was going in such a hurry. Then, Joo-hae explained that she was eager to watch Chan, her high school crush, at the campus sports hall. So, it was a coincidence that Chan was studying at the same university as Jamin and Joo-hae. Chan had become a fencing athlete and was a popular figure among female students. He was not only smart but also incredibly talented. As a result, many girls at the university wanted to be his girlfriend, including Joo-hae. However, Jamin wasn't happy to see Joo-hae's infatuation with Chan. He had always been in love with her, but he never expressed his feelings because he didn't want to risk losing her as a friend. He had to accept that his love would go unrequited and pretended to be happy for her crush. After classes, Jamin worked at a computer rental store near campus. He used the opportunity to learn more about computers and hacking. This was the beginning of his hacking career. In the end, he had become a legend in cyberspace. Everyone knew his name and his expertise in hacking. One day, out of the blue, Jamin received a message from another hacker who wanted to know how he was different from someone named You-Know-What. This You-Know-What was a notorious hacker who had drained money from many companies, including Jamin's father's business. The authorities had tried to catch You-Know-What, but he had vanished into thin air. It was impossible to trace his whereabouts because he was so good at covering his tracks. This made it difficult for the cyber police to investigate the case involving Jamin's father. You-Know-What was known for his intelligence and his ability to use different IPs, devices, and providers to erase any evidence of his crimes. When Jamin saw You-Know-What's name being compared to his own, he was curious. He knew that he was talented, but he had never faced someone like You-Know-What before. Soon after, Jamin immediately sent his CV and some of his notable achievements as a hacker to prove that he was better than You-Know-What. He was determined to catch this elusive hacker and bring him to justice. In another part of the story, we see a woman eagerly checking her phone for a reply from someone called Jameen, who goes by the alias Hex. At that time, he had a reputation for exposing corrupt financial systems, which caught the woman's attention. She was intrigued by his achievements and began digging into his personal identity. The woman in question was Kim Hae-soo, one of 2 members of the Better World organization. This group of hackers operated secretly under the guise of a retro gaming club at Seoul National University. The only other member was a man named Hwang Mong-guk. After conducting her investigation, Hae-soo discovered that Hex was actually a fellow student on campus. Excited by this revelation, she decided to invite him to join the Better World Club. The next day, as the sun set, Joo-hae burst into the computer rental where Jae-min was working. She asked him to join her for a night out. At that time, he was caught off guard, but agreed to come along. There, Joo-hae was thrilled because Chan had started to show interest in her. She revealed to Jae-min that she had been crushing on Chan since high school. This confession made Jae-min feel a pang of hurt and jealousy, but he kept his feelings to himself and let her gush about Chan. Unbeknownst to them, Hae-soo had been spying on them from afar. She watched as Joo-hae spilled her heart out to Jae-min and saw an opportunity. The next day, Jae-min received a message from the Battle World Club. He was ecstatic because he never expected to be invited to join the club, but the message instructed him to go to the hall in the basement of the old campus building. This hall was infamous for being creepy and no student dared to go there. Despite his doubts, Jae-min convinced himself that he was indeed the chosen one and ventured to the hall. The darkness was suffocating and he felt a shiver run down his spine. Suddenly, he came face to face with a terrifying creature. Panic set in and he bolted, desperate to escape from that accursed place. Then, as Jae-min ran through the dark hall, he suddenly came face to face with a creature. But upon closer inspection, it turned out to be Joo-hae. He was surprised and asked why Joo-hae was there. She explained that she had received the same invitation as him. Knowing that Joo-hae was with him, Jae-min felt relieved and even chuckled with her, even though they were in a scary building. Unbeknownst to them, Hae-soo and Mong-guk had been using the hallway to test their bravery before officially joining Battle World. Moments later, Jae-min and Joo-hae finally made it to the Battle World room where they met Hae-soo and Mong-guk in person. Then, Mong-guk explained that Better World was a secret organization of hackers dedicated to making the world a better place. They were part of a global alliance with the same mission. After that, Hae-soo extended an invitation for Jae-min to join the club. She also invited Joo-hae, knowing that her presence would mean a lot to Jae-min. Despite the explanation, Jae-min found it hard to believe that Battle World was a real hacker organization. He thought that Hae-soo and Mong-guk were just pulling his leg. Soon after, Hae-soo brought up Jae-min's father's case from 2017, and when Jae-min heard it, he felt a burning anger in his chest. For so long, he believed that hackers were evil people who had hurt his father and caused him to take his own life. But Mong-guk tried to calm him down, explaining that not all hackers were bad people. Hae-soo also offered to help Jae-min uncover the identity of you-know-what and solve his father's case. After leaving the confusing Battle World Club, Jae-min went to work, but he couldn't concentrate on his job because he was torn between his emotions. Soon, his boss Jang Buyol noticed his distress and scolded him. But then Buyol realized that Jae-min was troubled and advised him to do whatever he needed to do while he was still young. He even suggested that Jae-min should try new things if he was still unsure. Even though Buyol didn't know the root of Jae-min's turmoil, his words inspired Jae-min to make the right choice. Meanwhile, Joo-hae's dad, Park Woo-hae, met his friend Lee Tae-guk at a coffee shop. Tae-guk made an exciting offer to Woo-hae, suggesting that he invest in his company with digital money. He assured Woo-hae that the offer was genuine and even a small investment would yield significant profits in the future. As a teacher with a modest income, Woo-hae found Tae-guk's proposal intriguing, especially when Tae-guk mentioned Joo-hae's education costs. Joo-hae was an art student who needed a lot of money to pay for her studies. Then, Tae-guk also reminded Woo-hae that he needed to create a retirement fund for Joo-hae before she graduated and started working, especially since Woo-hae was nearing retirement age himself. The prospect of securing his daughter's future and being financially stable during retirement convinced Woo-hae to take a chance and invest with Tae-guk's company. The next day, as the sun began to set, Joo-hae returned home to find her father acting strangely. He seemed to be engrossed in writing something, but as soon as he saw Joo-hae, he hastily left the room. It didn't take long for her to discover a brochure about an online investment seminar, which made Joo-hae worried that her father might fall victim to investment fraud. Feeling helpless, Joo-hae turned to Jae-min for help. She pleaded with him to prevent her father from being deceived. After receiving the call, he swiftly started investigating Tae-guk, the company behind the seminar. He was determined to protect Joo-hae's father from falling prey to any investment scams. The next day, Jae-min, Hae-soo, and Mong-guk took matters into their own hands. Sneaking into the Tae-guk company building, they headed to the restroom to hide. Their goal was to sabotage the upcoming investment seminar. At that time, Mong-guk was tasked with hacking the CCTV cameras, while Hae-soo disguised herself as a cleaning service worker and made her way into the room where Tae-guk and other scammers were waiting. The atmosphere was tense as they all waited for the seminar to start. but Heisu remained calm and collected. As the presentation began, she quietly went about her business, cleaning the room while planting small devices that would disrupt the seminar. Meanwhile, Manguk successfully hacked the CCTV cameras, allowing them to keep an eye on the scammers. Soon after, Wu-hei sat at the seminar, eagerly recording all the material being presented. Afterward, it was Taeguk's turn to take the stage. He confidently announced that investing in his company would be a smart move for those who wanted to secure their future in old age. He assured the audience that if they invested with him, they could kick back and enjoy their retirement without any worries. But then, something strange happened. The lights flickered and suddenly went out, plunging the room into darkness. The front screen, which had been displaying seminar material, went black. After a few moments, the lights came back on, but the screen was now showing a video from a CCTV camera. Everyone in the room was immediately drawn to the unexpected footage. In the video, Taeguk was talking to a friend. He revealed his plan to deceive people and then escape to a country in Southeast Asia once he had taken their money. He even went so far as to call his potential victims stupid people. Then, as soon as the seminar video ended, a wave of anger swept over the attendees. They had been deceived by Taeguk, and they stormed out of the room in a frenzy. The Better World Club had managed to uncover the fraud, and now they proudly counted Heisu, Manguk, Jaemin, and Juhei as official members. In celebration of their success, the four of them threw a party. At that time, Juhei was overflowing with gratitude towards Jaemin and his friends for saving his father from a fake investment scheme. But their joyous evening was interrupted when Juhei received a call from Chan. She dashed out of the shop to answer the phone, leaving Jaemin feeling jealous. There, Heisu noticed Jaemin's envy and offered him some advice. She urged him to seize the moment and confess his love to Juhei. That night, he mustered up the courage to ask Chan for a meeting. It turned out that Jaemin's sudden invitation piqued Chan's interest, so he agreed to meet him. When they finally met, Jaemin revealed that he had wanted to get to know Chan better since high school, when they had always competed for the top 2 spots. They chatted about various topics to break the ice, but then Chan dropped a bombshell that he was interested in Juhei. At that time, Jaemin was taken aback by Chan's revelation, and he felt a pang of regret in his heart. He realized that it was too late for him to confess his love to Juhei. He was crestfallen, knowing that there was nothing he could do to stop Juhei from pursuing her crush, Chan. Sometime later, Wu-hei still had a keen interest in online investing, but after Taeguk almost cheated him, he became more cautious. He decided to seek advice from Jaemin, a computer science student, about electric currency and online investment. He knew that Jaemin could guide him better. There, he revealed his plan to invest in a financial company called Azilo1 to Jaemin. The next day, while Jaemin was at work, he stumbled upon a new upload by You-Know-What, a notorious hacker from the underground world. He had been waiting for You-Know-What and was taken aback by the sudden appearance of his post. You-Know-What announced his intention to break into Azilo1's cyber system. Soon after, Jaemin immediately thought of Wu-hei's investment plan and grew concerned. He feared that Wu-hei could lose all his money if You-Know-What was successful. Jaemin knew he had to act fast to prevent Wu-hei from being scammed. Then, he contacted his friends at the Battle World clan and informed them of the situation. At that time, Jaemin wanted to save Wu-hei from being robbed and, at the same time, expose You-Know-What's true identity. He had been searching for the hacker who was responsible for the data leak case that had affected his father's company back in 2017. Unfortunately, Manguk and Heisu rejected Jaemin's plan to catch You-Know-What. They needed to rest and strategize because You-Know-What was no ordinary hacker. But Jaemin was determined to catch You-Know-What immediately, even if it meant doing it alone. Then, Jaemin planned to trick You-Know-What by stealing data from Azilo1's clients and draining their investments. He wanted to move ahead of the hacker and force him out of hiding. Meanwhile, Heisu and Manguk were confused by Jaemin's sudden disappearance and his plan. They called Juhei, who was dating Chan, to help find Jaemin. Soon after, the Better World Club eventually found Jaemin near Azilo1's company building. Then, Jaemin shared his plan with Heisu to steal the data belonging to Azilo1, a client of the company. He needed to hack into the central data security system located inside the building, which meant he had to sneak inside. At first, Heisu hesitated but was impressed by Jaemin's mature strategy and agreed to help him from outside. With Heisu's guidance, Jaemin successfully stole the data and disrupted Azilo1's system, but was caught by security guards as he tried to leave. Then, Heisu helped him by turning off the electricity, but more security officers confronted him in the basement. At that time, Jaemin tried to find a way to escape, but the pressure forced him to use his martial arts technique, which he had learned in high school. He used to believe that mastering martial arts could help him fight crime, but after his father's death, he was determined to become a cyber expert and catch the hacker You-Know-What who was responsible for his father's death. Meanwhile, the morning after Jaemin's hack, Azilo1's corporate clients found that all their balances had been drained. He even displayed a message on large screens in the city to show that he had hacked Azilo1's security system. Although innocent clients were affected, his real target was You-Know-What. Jaemin hoped to force You-Know-What to reveal his identity by his actions. His plan worked, and You-Know-What contacted him to ask for the stolen data. At that time, he put the data onto a small USB drive, intending to trade it for information about his father's case. Then, Monguk suggested a brilliant idea, which was to exchange the real USB drive for a fake one that looked identical. This fake USB was secretly equipped with a recording device to gather evidence if what was indeed responsible for Jaemin's father's death. There, he warned Jaemin that the fake USB contained a harmful virus that could ruin the system. The next day, Jaemin headed to an empty building where he was supposed to meet what. When he finally met what, he was taken aback to discover that what was actually Chan, someone he knew. Chan confessed that he had been envious of Jaemin and went as far as hacking into his father's business system. Before Jaemin could retaliate, Chan ordered his henchmen to attack him. He was confident he would win, especially after snatching the USB from Jaemin. He eagerly inserted it into his device to access Azilla-1's data, but the USB unleashed a vicious virus that wrecked Chan's network. In the meantime, Jaemin rose to his feet and dealt a swift blow to Chan and his men. In the end, the authorities captured Chan and his arrest became a hot topic in South Korea. The public was outraged as millions of electric currencies vanished from the national bank system due to Chan's actions. However, the furor eventually died down after a few days. Despite the long time it took to apprehend his former schoolmate what, Jaemin felt overjoyed and relieved. After the case wrapped up, he returned to work at the computer rental. At the same time, Better World Club members went on a break, but their mission to use hacking for good never ceased. They continued to work remotely, striving to make the world a better place through their hacking skills. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is that sometimes, the best way to catch a hacker is to become a hacker yourself. Oh, and also, never underestimate the power of creepy hallways in bringing people together.